Hello, hello, hello. I am Coach Jay, and today I just wanted to discuss questions um, on getting to know yourself a little deeper, getting to know your spouse, your partner, your significant other a little deeper. And these questions, no matter what the relationship you have, could actually help to really do a deeper dive into any relationship that you have. Um, I'm going to try my best to post these somewhere so you can have easy access, but feel free just to keep this class on hand so you could go back and hear these questions again. I have about 50. I'm not going to go over all of them in this class, but I will go over some. And again, this is just a deeper dive into some introspection or reflection to get to know somebody else a little bit better or deeper, or yourself. So, just going to go down these and feel free to jot down the ones that you might like yourself, or like I said, keep this on hand so you can look at these questions later. And I will try to post them somewhere, just not sure where, but I will do my best. All right. First and foremost, I I always start my classes with a corny dad joke, and I say, how do you make seven even? What is the way to make seven even? The way to make seven even is to take away the S. All right. How about two deep healing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth? So in through the nose, out through the mouth, and again in through the nose, out through the mouth. Ooh, and that one made me yawn. Yawning is contagious, so maybe you yawned as well. Anyways, whether you're reconciling, reconnecting, dating, or anywhere in between, I have compiled a list of questions you can ask on your next date. Now, I don't care if you're married for 55 years. The next time you're together, that could be considered a date, and these can be questions you ask. And again, if you're single, feel free to ask yourself these questions and really answer, almost like you're two different people. You could ask yourself and then answer, or write them down and answer. I will give you a little interesting tip that I learned when I was taking some neurology course. Sometimes if you ask yourself a question with the dominant hand you write with, and then respond to that question with the non-dominant hand you write with, your answer actually may surprise you. All right, number one, what CD would have been the soundtrack to your high school years? Um, Born to be Wild, maybe, or It's a Heartache. What CD would have been the soundtrack or song to your school years? Number two, what's the most scared you'd ever felt when you were a child? Um, this could have been, a time you were being violated by somebody. This could have been a time you got locked out of your house. It could have been a time a parent or your caretaker lost a job and you were overhearing discussions about food and rent. Um, what was the most scary you'd ever felt like when you were a child? Another one was, what was the happiest you remember as a child? Did your mother or father caretaker, randomly stop at an ice cream store after church to get ice cream? And you're like, wow, that was one of the happiest times. It was so random. It was so um, impulsive, and I just loved it. Was it a time you got something for Christmas? You celebrate Christmas. Was there a time you just sat on your parents or caretaker's lap and watched a cartoon? And you're like, that made me feel so safe and loved. I was very happy. So, what is one of your most happiest or cherished childhood memory? Um, if you have kids, aside from them, what is your biggest accomplishment? Um, I'll tell you, for me, a lot of people don't know this. I quit school when I was in sixth grade. I had a lot going on in my family. I was raising my younger sister. There were, I was in a place in an area, phase and stage, where just going to school was no longer an option for me, unfortunately, and I had to quit school at sixth grade. However, long story short, I did wind up in college and graduated with honors with, I think, my associate's degree. I graduated with no, I graduated with high honors with my associate's degree, uh, um, and then honors, I think, with my master's degree. But I will say my biggest accomplishment was walking across that stage because I never learned so many of the Mickey Mouse things of seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. Those Mickey Mouse things that you're, well, I shouldn't call them Mickey Mouse because high school is pretty intense at times, but there was a lot of things I missed out on. I never got to walk a stage in graduation for high school. So when I walked that stage in college with high honors, you couldn't, I was looking down on cloud nine. I was so proud of myself. If there's anything you could do right now in the world, what would that be? Would that be, stopping the war in Gaza? Would that be feeding hungry children? Would that be all third world places where women are looked at as second class citizens or gays or what have you? Would you change that? So what would you do if you could change anything right now as far as the world goes? Um, what's the worst job you ever had? I'll tell you, for me personally, the worst job I ever had was I used to work at a grocery store collecting bottles. People would take back the returns, and man, people would bring back bottles with, like, mice that were dead hanging out from them, or cockroaches in the bottom of them, and you still had to take them, and it was gross. That was probably the worst job. Um, another question is, if you had to choose one thing to be real, what would it be? Would it be aliens or ghosts, and why? So, yeah, and maybe you already do believe in alien and ghosts. And if you do, why? If you had $5,000 to donate to any charity right now, what would it be and why? Um, so basically, whatever your passion is, whether that's, homeless youth, whether that's uh, adults in domestic violence situations. If you had $5,000 right now that you had to donate, what organization or organizations would you donate to, and why? What is your love language? Are you somebody that is physical touch? Are you somebody that words of affirmation? Are you somebody that's acts of kindness? What is your mourning language? What does that mean? Like, how do you deal with death? When you have a death, are you somebody that needs to talk about it a lot? Or are you somebody that just needs to be alone and process grief on your own? So what is your mourning language? Also, what is your apology language? Some people, when they hear an apology, they need to know you own what you did. Some people, their priority is what is going to be your future changed behavior. Another people's priority needs to hear, do you realize what you did to me? Some is all the above. So what is your apology language? And also, are you willing to get to know another person's apology language? That way, if you do somebody wrong, you know how most effective to apologize to them. When you're feeling extremely stressed, what's the one thing that someone can do for you, or what's the one thing that you can do? Some people say, if I go take a cold shower, that reduces my stress. Other people say, if I sing, that reduces my stress. Some people say, I pray and meditate, and that reduces my stress. What is it that reduces your stress? Or you can ask, somebody else, whether it's your friend, family member, child, significant other, partner, spouse, to get to know them. What is something that immediately reduces stress for you? Singing and watching a crime show immediately reduces stress for me. All right, if you're having a birthday party and you can invite only 3 of your friends or family members, dead or alive, who would they be and why? Um, this is good insight because it tells you really what kind of you prioritize, what you value. Why would you invite these 3 people? What did they bring to your life that you really need, desire, enjoy, and deserve? What are you most proud of about yourself? This could also could go back to achievements, but what are you most proud of? Um, are you most proud of the fact that you're a survivor in life? Are you most proud of the kind of parent or friend you were? Are you most proud of how you kept in shape in such a world that we live in where the food is not the best, and we live in a microwave society, that doesn't teach you about, smaller portions are good, exercise is good. It's all about fast, 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 and unhealthy. So what are you most proud about? um, uh, Another question is, tell me about a scar you have. Now, this could be a physical scar, it could be an emotional or a mental scar, it could be a spiritual scar. I talk to many people who, are gay or lesbian, and they'll say, I love God and I went to church, but then when I found out the church wasn't loving to me, that left a permanent scar, and I wound up leaving the church. Or maybe there was a scar where, my first husband, punched me in the face and I got a forever scar on my eye. Or was your scar from childhood? So tell me about a scar. Did you ever break a bone? If yes, what happened? If you could tell your teenage self one thing, what would you tell your teenage self? Um, this could be actually a course changer, a game changer for a lot of people. What would you tell your younger teenage self? And if you want, what could you even tell your younger self before you get to teenage years? Because teenage years, your women are starting their cycle and their breasts are growing, and men, the voice is dropping, and then they got the acne, and the teenage years can be tough and rough. So you can even go before then. What would you tell your younger self? Maybe even about approaching your teenage years. Do you have any superstitions? What are they? Where did they come from? Um, Name three petty things that drive you nuts. Oh my lord, if this were me, I'd have to put 300 because I have a lot of qualms. One of them is all of the hangers in my closet have to be facing one way. So those are pet peeves of mine. What qualities of mine do you hope, if we have any kids, what qualities of mine would you want our kids to have? And then you can also, ask the other question, what kind of qualities? I'll tell you what kind of qualities I wish our kids would have that you have. Again, this is if you guys are partnered and have kids. What's the biggest lie you ever told as a kid? And what's the biggest lie you ever told as an adult? Now, obviously, this wouldn't be a first date question, um, unless you're a saint. But what was your first big lie, and what was your small? I can't. I'm trying to think off the cuff. I don't know if I ever had a big lie as a child. I do know that I lied constantly and consistently, and not to excuse it. But one of the reasons was, if I didn't tell the people that were taking care of me lies, I would be in brutal physical trouble. So, like for instance, if I was climbing something in the bathroom that I shouldn't have been, and it toppled over and fell, instead of telling my caretaker I was climbing on something, I would just say I was just trying to reach for the toothpaste and this fell on me and I got hurt. And that way, immediately, I would appeal to their sympathy and compassion, and hopefully not let their rage and anger come out. Let's see. What was the most trouble you ever got into when you were in high school? Well, I told you before, I never went to high school, so I couldn't answer that question, but maybe the person that you're sitting across from did. Um, what is it about yourself today that you still need to work on? Holy crap, I would need an encyclopedia for that. But they're probably talking about what are the top 3 to 5 things you still need to work on. So whatever that is for you, do you need to work on compassion? Do you need to work on boundaries? Do you need to work on assertiveness? What do you need to work on? What was your favorite vacation when you were a kid? And if you didn't go on vacation, um, what was your favorite teacher and why? Um, did you ever break somebody's heart? And who was it that broke your heart? I tell my son all the time. He's going to be 13 very soon, and I tell him, you're going to get your heart broken. Unfortunately, you're going to get your heart broken in life. That's just a sad reality of life. You're going to get your heart broken. At the same time, you're going to break some hearts. So just be sensitive to that, conscious of that. All right. What do you wish your parents did or didn't do more often? Do you wish your parents didn't fight as much as they did? Do you wish your parents hugged you a little bit more? Do you wish your parents, whatever it was, what do you wish your parents did more of or didn't do? Let's see here. If you could have any career in the world, what would it be? I know for me, I'd love to be a gospel singer. Love to be a gospel singer. That that would be a dream come true. Now, what's nice is that I do sing in my church's choir, and I love it and I enjoy it. But I think it's just such the best of all worlds. If I were to be able to travel internationally and be a gospel singer, I would love to do that. If you could start a business tomorrow, what would you sell? Would you sell Avon? Would you sell cars? Would you sell vacations? Would you sell an exercise program? If you could become a business person tomorrow, what is it exactly that you would sell to people? Um, if you could only have one dessert for the rest of your life, what would it be? Hmm, this is a hard one. What would it be? Do you like creme brulee? Do you like something more of an apple fritter? Or do you like chocolate mousse pie? Do you like Rice Krispie treats? If you could only have one dessert for the rest of your life, what would it be? And why? And this would be a good question to ask for yourself and respond and give whoever it is you're talking to an answer, and then here's what there is. What's your guilty pleasure? Now, we all have probably a couple guilty pleasures, but what is your most guilty pleasure? I'll tell you what mine is to lay in bed and watch Forensic Files. Man, if I could make a living lying in bed and watching a crime show, I'd be a multi-billionaire because I could do that from now until the day I take my last breath. Um, there's more intimate questions that you guys could ask, such as, what do you want to explore more in the bedroom? What would you like to communicate more on as far as what would I be more open to as far as exploration in the bedroom? Um, what was your most embarrassing moment in life and what happened? Um, we've all had embarrassing moments in life. I'll never forget, getting, we were getting ready for a birthday party at our house for one of our kids. And I was telling my spouse, when your coworker comes here, tell her to take her shoes off. She never takes her shoes off. There's a note right on the door that when somebody walks in, it says right here, shoes go here. And she never takes her shoes off. We have brand new, nice carpeting. Please tell her to take her shoes off. And anyways, a couple hours later, I'm cleaning the bathroom, I'm scrubbing the tub, and my son screams from the other side of the house, Papa, somebody's at the door. And I said, open the door and tell them to come in. And he said, I did. They're here. And I said, okay, I'll be out in a second. But who is it? And in front of her, she said, the one that never takes off her shoes. And I was mortified. So, anyways, what is one of the most embarrassing times that you've come across? And trust me, when it comes to your kids, they embarrass you quite a few times. Have you ever had a recurring dream or nightmare? If so, what is it? Share with each other. Share some of these things, and you could actually ask if you're whoever you're sharing this with, what's your interpretation of my dream, and then give them your interpretation of theirs. What makes you laugh the most? What brings you joy? What's funny to you? I mean, we all have a completely different sense of humor. What's completely funny to one person is could be offensive to another. Um, and especially this generation, my kids will send me memes they think is hilarious. And I'm looking at it like, I don't even get this, let alone it's not funny. So what's funny to you? Um, if you're in a relationship context, what do you think I need to pay more attention to? If that's chores and laundry, fine. If that's, feeding your emotional tank, that's fine. If that's doing more as far as being proactive with the kids, that's fine. What is it more I need to pay attention to? And of course, your significant other would also um, state what they feel you need to pay attention to. What's one thing that makes you worried about the future? Is it, are we going to have enough money to retire? Is it I'm worried about how I'm going to die. Is it I'm worried about the world we live in? Sometimes it seems like the world's going crazy. What is it that most worries you about your future? What makes you excited about your future? I can't, I have a lot of people in my family that are very religious, and they're in a healthy way, don't get me wrong. They're looking forward to death because they don't look at death as an end. They look at death as a transition, as an ultimate graduation to be with their loved ones who were gone before. So they love life on earth now, and they're looking forward to life after earth. So, so what gets you excited? Um, and the last one I'll just say for this class, although I have more, if you were to take part in a talent show for an hour, what talent would you showcase? Would you showcase your talent to sing, to dance, to do a puppet, to um, uh, are you very nimble, I think is the word, flexible? Can you move your arms in all these different ways? Like, what talent can you distort your facial features and make your face look weird? So, what talent, if you had an hour and you were given a stage, would you like to showcase? Would it be telling jokes? So these, like I said, these are just some questions to kind of um, if you're dating, if you're in a long-term relationship, if you or even if it's with your friends, your family, your parents, your child, your neighbor, or even if these are questions to ask yourself, because we should always be getting to know ourselves. Because I say all the time, you're not the same person you are today than you were 2 years ago or 5 years ago. Hell, with some of us, not even 2 months ago. And you're certainly not going to be the same person you are 2 months from now, 2 years from now, 2 decades from now. So these are good questions to kind of ask yourself. Because you know what's interesting? My favorite animal has been a monkey for probably 40 years. And now recently I'm thinking, I don't know if my favorite animal is a monkey anymore. And that's weird because I don't know if I'm scared to embrace a new thing, or if I'm scared just to let go of the thought that maybe a monkey isn't my favorite animal anymore. And why am I scared of that? Do I just like the feeling of staying in familiar territory? So again, these questions, even though they might not be tremendous in depth, it's good because they're constantly introspective and reflective. So hope you got something out of these questions. And keep me posted if you have any response to them that's interesting.